The matrix, that is the access matrix, can be decomposed in two different ways. It can be decomposed or divided in two different ways. The access matrix, which we have seen earlier, can be decomposed in two different ways. The first way is uh, it can be decomposed uh, by columns, or it can be decomposed by row. If it is decomposed by column, then it is called as access control list. Access control list. Or if it is decomposed by row, then it is called as capability list. Capability list. Okay. So if it is decomposed by column, then it is known as access control list. Or if it is decomposed by row, then it is known as it is known as capability list. Now let's have a look at this matrix. Please make a note of it. Hope it is okay. Let me draw it again here. It will take some time. Let me draw this again. Now, for example, this is the access matrix that is given to us. So, in order to create access control list, the matrix will be decomposed column wise. That is, for every object, we will create a list. So, this is file 1, and this file 1 is accessed by user 1. This is user 1 for user 1, and it will have a link to the record of the second user, so which is user 2. So this is user 2, and this file 1 is also accessible by the third user. So this is user n, and because this is a linked list, all these blocks are linked together. So inside these blocks, access rights are written. As for user 1, honor, read, and write. Three permissions are given to the user 1. In context of the user 2, only read permission is given. That's why it will contain the read permission only. Whereas the third block will contain the read and write permission, and the address field will contain the null. That is, there is no additional field. The same is true for the file 2. One more list will be created for the file 2, because there are two users who can access file 2, so it would have two blocks only. This list would have two blocks only. This is the first block and this is the second block. This object is pointing to the first block, who is the user 2. This is user 2, and this block is for user n. These two blocks are linked together. Because this is the last block, it would contain null. Inside these blocks, the access rights are written like OWN, honor, read, and write. Similarly, the last block of this list would contain the read permission only. In the similar way, we will have four linked lists. The first linked list was for file 1, the second list would be for the file 2, next we would have a list for the file 3, and in the last we would have a list for the for the object printer. Let's create the linked list for the object printer. Because there is only one user who is having access control over the printer, it would have only one block, and that is for user 2. This would point to the first block, and its next field would be null, and the operation is written here, that is print. So this list would contain only one object or one block. As far as the file 3 is concerned, this list would contain two blocks. The first block is for user 1, because user 1 is given access control over the file 3, and the second block is for user 2. Here the permissions are honor, read, write. The first block is linked with the second block, where we have the write permission only, and this would contain null because this is the last block. So all these are access control list, in which the access matrix was decomposed column wise. Now coming to the last topic, that is capability list. We are taking the same access matrix, and in which the matrix is divided row wise, that is the linked list is created for every user. In the previous example, that is in case of the access control list, the linked list was created for every object. Here the lists are created for every subject, that is list is created subject wise, that is for every user. So first list would contain will be for user 1. This is the first block, which is representing the object, that is the file 1, and this block is linked with the second object, that is file 3, and here we will have null. Inside the block we will have the access rights. Look at this, user 1 is having ownership, read and write permission on the file 1. Similarly, for the file 3, it is having the ownership, read and write permissions. For the second subject or the second user, that is user 2, we would have another list, because user 2 can access or can have the access of four different objects like 1, 2, 3, 4. This list would contain four blocks: 1, 2, 3 and 4. one block for every object. This is file 1, this is file 2, this is for file 3, and this is for printer. Because this is the last block, it would contain null, and all blocks are linked together as in case of the linked list. The blocks would contain the permissions. User 2 is having read permission on the file 1, whereas for the file 2 it is having ownership, read and write permission. For file 3 it is having write permission only, and for the printer it is having print permission. That is, user 2 can use the printer. Now coming to the last subject or last user, which is user n, because this user is having access over two objects only, that is file 1 and the file 2. That's why this list would contain two blocks only. The first block is for first object, which is file 1, and the second block is for the second object, which is file 2, and both are linked together in a linked list. The user n on the file 1 is having read and write permission, whereas for the file 2 it is having read permission. These lists are known as capability list. In this way, the access matrix can be implemented either by using access control list or by using capability list. Hope this concept is clear to you. If you have any confusion, please do write to me. We will take some more examples to make it clear. Thank you very much.